Well, here's version 2.0. Besides optimizing a couple things and adding workpiece control cylinders, I'm calling it done. So I just booted it up and I got rid of the main menu. Instead we're starting on the run recipe screen. Instead of the main menu screen we have a start bar. If you have a run menu, you can do a quick job, which is 12 positions, or your run recipe. And these menus kind of change a little bit based on what screen you're on. Your system setup, where you can make recipes, kind of your Backgauge setup and your maintenance. And then system tools, your calculator, conversion chart, and registers. So we'll start with the recipe editor. Not much changed here. The only thing I added was auto recipe verification. You'll still get the individual prompts when you try to start and it's not right. So what it's looking for is that your workpiece length and punch positions are possible. The first position cannot be 0, and I added duplicate positions. So if you're adding a lot or have a long recipe, it can be easy to accidentally add the same value twice, so it checks for that as well. So right now our first two positions are equal, and if you download it,
transferring recipe, verifying, recipe verification failed, duplicate concurrent punch positions not possible.
so you'll get a prompt for whatever the fault is. If you have multiple setup issues,
transferring recipe, verifying, recipe verification failed, multiple recipe configuration errors.
so you'll just get that kind of a prompt if you have multiple problems. And just clear out all your prompts and fix what needs to be fixed.
Transferring recipe, verifying, recipe download successfully completed.
So that's the prompt you'll get when it's right. Here we have the registers. You can see what's been downloaded. And here's 51 through 100. Nothing changed with the calculator. And conversion chart's the same. So go to our menu and we'll go to system setup. Not much changed here either, just graphically. I have our homing routine, which is the same. Here I added the encoder pulses per inch. Here we have our calibration routine stuff. Home it, start the calibration, apply your values, and for anti-backlash. I found when I was testing the backlash that it's not linear. Kind of depending on what part of the track you're on, it's always different, so I'm not sure I'll ever actually use that or have to come up with some kind of dynamically changing value based on where you are, but I have to do a lot of testing for that. And we have encoder control and step count control. So a step count, it's like every other stepper system, every count just based off where you are. And with encoder control, that's based on the encoder position, so now we've kind of closed the loop. If you hit the E-stop or have a fault in motion and you disable the motor, you can push it out of the way and restart and not have to home. So that's kind of nice that they close the loop there. And if you can change these on the fly if you know you're in a good position. Both sets of logic are running in parallel. So that's that. And the punch delay stuff, none of that really changed. So I'll go to system maintenance, and nothing really changed here either. I do have our machine reset. I also have a hardwired button for that, just in case there's some kind of infinite loop you get stuck in that I haven't figured out yet. Can just zero out everything in the machine. And so we'll go back to our run recipe. So instead of waiting for all your individual prompts, we do have is the system not ready, or what needs to be done to make it ready. So we've downloaded a recipe. We still need to home the Backgauge, so we'll hit home system.
Backgauge homing routine initiated.
And for everything, or to start the Backgauge, Ironworker has to be on the upstroke sensor. So I'll just force it on in the program. So I'll turn the Ironworker on. So everything's good. That prompt disappears. I also added the speed to the main screen here, so you can change that on the fly. You can change individual ranges, or just turn them all up. So we have our download, go to the recipe screen, we have our run mode, right now we're in manual mode. Have our Backgauge control where you can change encoder mode, step mode, and I have a job tolerance. So right now it's at 5 thousandths. If you're outside of that, you'll get a prompt where we can autocorrect it. Right now it's a manual autocorrect. I haven't taken the time to make that automatic for every position. That's going to require a little bit of, or a lot of reworking on the program to make that work, since I didn't write it to have that feature. But so that's our job tolerance. And here we have you can change the punch delay stuff on the fly. So we have our first punch position. It's only on 3 times, 1 second on, 1 second off, and 2 through 100. That's our delay, and we can enable the alarm to sound for whatever the delay time is. It's kind of a safety feature, so that means it'll be on for your position. Now turn that off, and your downstroke timeout false. So everything is all set up. We're in encoder control, and we should be able to start the system now. So when the job's running, you cannot can't change the recipe, can't rehome it. When it's in motion, you can't hit the start button again. There's quite a lot of interlocking here. I also set it up so you can't go to the quick job screen and start another job. Just all stuff to kind of help you out here.
The Backgauge is not within the specified operator-defined tolerance.
So now we're outside of our range. We have where we're going, what the actual position is, our tolerance, which you can change on this screen, and then what your max error is on the position, plus minus. So we can jog continuously, single step jog, or we can just do an autocorrect, or you can just resume or ignore, but we'll autocorrect it.
Auto-correcting.
Now I do the math and the math is right, but I don't know if it's just because of, it must be mechanically. Sometimes you have to hit it twice.
Auto-correcting.
So we're happy with our position, just hit the resume.
Resuming job at current position. The back gauge is not within the specified operator-defined tolerance.
I haven't quite figured out, sometimes you get in these loops where it's,
Auto-correcting.
I don't know if because you're going back and forth you have backlash or what's going on, but I did do testing based on step mode, encoder mode, and then encoder autocorrect. And with the autocorrect it is a little bit more accurate, but the differences we're talking about are really minuscule. Based on a tape measure, you can't really tell the difference. So
Resuming job at current position. Ironworker not in position. Upstroke sensor must be active to enable the back gauge.
So right now I took the force off the upstroke sensor. I kind of go through a couple of the faults. So you get a prompt like this with a few of the remedies to fix it. So now we're in encoder control mode. I don't have to rehome. Right now the Ironworker is not ready. So if you try to do any of these three,
The job cannot restart until the Ironworker is in the ready state.
so it doesn't pay to go to position when it's not ready. The only thing you can do is abort right now. So if I force the upstroke sensor back on, now we can go to where we're
Are you
going
sure
to.
you want to restart at the current position?
So that's kind of nice to have the closed loop. I don't always have to rehome it.
The back gauge is not within the specified operator-defined tolerance. Auto-correcting. Resuming job at current position.
Okay, so we can run a job, full auto job, turn the Ironworker on. So I'll turn that on. Okay, right now I don't have the Ironworker in auto cut, so we'll go through that.
The punch failed to move. Turn the auto/manual selector switch to auto cut.
So acknowledge that prompt. I'll turn it to auto cut. And now I moved the lower stroke sensor out of the range to simulate that fault.
Are you sure you want to restart at the current position? Resuming job at current position. Ironworker downstroke timeout fault. Please verify Ironworker downstroke sensor position.
So it reached the bottom, didn't see the limit, and it auto boards, sends it back up to the upstroke sensor. So I'll reposition that sensor.
Are you sure you want to restart at the current position? Resuming job at current position. The back gauge is not within the specified operator-defined tolerance.
Just make that a little bigger.
Auto-correcting. Auto-correcting. Resuming job at current position.
And we could turn up our speeds here if we want. So that's pretty much it. I'll have to do another video actually running a couple jobs here. See if I can find something heavy.